One thing that I found out in this business, in 15 minutes you can do a lot. Now, let me ask you this question. I'm gonna ask you to be more efficient in your network marketing time than maybe you are in your job. Because think about this, how many people work in a job or have a business outside of your network marketing business? Raise your hands, please. Okay, for all of you, I want you to be honest. How many of the hours a week that you work at your job are truly productive hours? Who's got a number? 2 hours out of your week are productive. How about you? 2 hours a week are productive. Who else? 5, 30, 12, 16, 20, 10. Because you know why we're being displaced by machines every single day in every aspect of our world? You know why? And why we're safe? Because word of mouth advertising is still going to be the most powerful resource on earth. We're being displaced because machines are more efficient than we are, because guess what we do? We show up 9 o'clock, we wander around a little bit, we have a cup of coffee, we visit a few cubicles, we tell a few stories, we find our way to our desk, we check our email, we lounge around online, we hide behind our screen for like another 45 minutes. We get up, go to the bathroom, visit with a few people on the way there and on the way back. Then we go to a meeting that's completely unnecessary, and we sit in the meeting, 12 people getting paid $40 an hour in a meeting that's completely unnecessary, and we're on on social media under the table in the meeting anyway, pretending that we're busy. Then we go to lunch, we come back from lunch, and then we, pretty soon, hey, I guess it's time to go. The day's gone. So in network marketing, if you want to be really efficient, I want to ask you to schedule your hours, be a tough boss, but then be really efficient with the hours that you have. You might not have 2 hours to be able to say, okay, I'm going to prospect for 2 hours, but you might have 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, you can make 3, 4, 5 calls. You can send out 10 text messages. You can follow up with 3 people. You can check on your team. You can inspire somebody in your organization. You can get somebody to register for your next convention in 15 minutes. So think of it in 15-minute increments. If you have 10 hours a week to build your network marketing business, 10 hours a week, guess what you can do in those 10 hours a week? That's 40 15-minute blocks, 40. 40 times you can focus, 40 times you can hit it, 40 times you can get results. Get the kids started on their homework, do 2 15-minute blocks. Do a 15-minute block in the car on the way to work. Never eat alone at lunch. You don't need to eat with that same crowd anyway. Make sure you're meeting with somebody that you could talk to about your business every day at lunch and have at least 2 or 3 15-minute blocks. You can, if you're serious about this, you could take 8 hours on a Saturday. 8 hours on a Saturday, 8 times 4, 32 15-minute blocks, and just do back-to-back presentations all day on a Saturday, liberating people and changing people's lives. Sitting in the corner of a Starbucks, no problem. So 15-minute increments can really help you in maximizing your time. Your boss should be your calendar. When I'm working and coaching people, which is one of my favorite things to do, is coaching people, guess what I look at first? Show me your calendar. Come on. And they're like, what? They get this big scared look. And if you're not going to employ yourself, if you want to be coached by me, I'm going to employ you. Show me. Show me what hours you're scheduled to prospect, what hours you're scheduled to follow up, what hours you're scheduled to close and get people started, what hours you're scheduled to train your group, communicate with your team, what are your hours for real? Show me. Show me where the follow-up is. Show me where the schedule is. Show me where the events are. Show me. You've got to show me your calendar. I saw a documentary on Joan Rivers. She was one of the most prolific, hard-working women in comedy. Whether you like her or not doesn't matter. But in the documentary, she was in her 80s or something and working hard. And she says, you want to see what terror looks like? And she opened up a page to a calendar that was empty. That's terror to me. And then she went to the page before. It was all filled. She said, that brings me joy. That means I'm out there, doing my thing in the world. An empty calendar should be terrorizing to you, should be so frightening to you. Most of you don't even have one. What does your calendar look like as you leave here from now to the end of the year? If you have a calendar filled with specific activities, you're going to win. If you're just winging it, I can guess your income. I can guess your bank balance. If you're just winging it. Decide to be a little bit more structured. If you want to be a network marketing professional, what would Elon Musk do if he had your distributorship? What would Steve Jobs do if he had your distributorship? What would Bill Gates do if he had your distributorship? Or Mark Cuban do if he had your distributorship? What would he do with the time? He or she or anybody. What would they do with the gift that they had, and how would they value it? They'd go after it. Now, I'm not saying you have to be full-time. I'm saying in the time that you have to be efficient. Make the hours that you set sacred. Most of you will set your hours, but anything in the world will knock those hours off track. You get a cold, those hours go out the window. Somebody in the family has a crisis, those hours go out the window. You'll still go to your job, but your network marketing business isn't sacred. Until it's sacred, there's only so far you're going to go. You got to treat these hours sacred. You got to treat this commitment on a sacred level and go after it. Even though network marketing is forgiving, don't ask for the forgiveness every day. Let me give you the one of the lessons that I learned when it comes to time management and being productive that changed my whole life. It changed my entire life. It's a secret, and it's going to make some of you crazy to even think about, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I've been mentored by 2 different billionaires in my life. And these billionaires, the first one had 30-some companies. He was worth about $3 billion. He always seemed to have a lot of time. He was never really stressed out. He was active in his community, doing all this stuff. And I asked him finally, I said, how do you manage all this? Because I'm frantic. I don't have enough time for anything. I'm stressed out like crazy. He said, well, this was when I was in my late 20s. He said, how much money do you want to make? He said, because there's unlimited money, which is a strange concept to hear. I said, well, because I'd always heard, set a goal to make $1 million a year, be a millionaire. All right, $1 million a year. He said, how much, if you break that down by hour, Eric, that's about $500 an hour. $500 an hour, approximately, for a full-time job equals $1 million a year. He said, Eric, is there a task that you can do that pays $500 an hour or more? And in network marketing, guess what? There is. If you're in front of a prospect, count up the total number of hours that you've been in front of prospects. I promise you've been paid more than $500 an hour for that, or will be paid more than $500 an hour as a result of those hours that you're spending in front of a prospect. So I'm like, well, yeah, there is. He said, here's the secret. Secret number 1, anything that you're currently doing that is worth less than $500 an hour, have someone else do. I'm like, what? He said, Eric, do you mow the lawn? I said, yeah, I mow the lawn. He said, how much would it cost to hire somebody to mow the lawn? I said, I don't know, $15 an hour. He said, every hour you are mowing the lawn, you are losing $485. What? I lose $485 for mowing the lawn? That's a reframe. So for some of you doing the laundry, you're losing $500 an hour to do the laundry. You're losing $500 an hour to go get the groceries. You're losing $500 an hour to do household chores. You're losing $500. I was blown away by this idea. He said, literally, anything that could be done by somebody else. I'm not talking about raising your children. I'm not talking about tucking your kids in. But anything that could be done by somebody else that's less than $500 an hour, let them do it. Have somebody else do it. That's point number 1. Point number 2 is you have to make sure that that hour is replaced with you being in front of a prospect. You can't just sit on the couch, have somebody else mow the lawn, and not be in front of the prospect. Okay, I'll make that trade. Every hour I have somebody do that, then I'll be in front of a prospect. And he said, step 3 is work as hard as you can to maximize the number of hours that you're doing $500 an hour plus activity. That's step 3. Work to maximize those hours, not just the hours you're having other people do other things. And I will tell you, in that year, I've never mown the lawn again. I don't shovel the driveway if it snows. I don't have the leaf blower taking care of stuff. I don't set up the holiday lights. I don't do any of those things. I have a complete support system designed to do all of those things. I don't put gas in the car. I don't. I don't stop at the gas station. The car's always full. Different mindset, right? I make sure that I'm operating at peak potential. And I was like, wow. So you want to have a trick to be able to totally change your life? Get focused on the high activities and then clear the decks of all the other nonsense. Think of the stuff that gives you a sense of identity, and maybe that's not the identity that you're meant to live. Maybe you're not the permanent chauffeur for the world. Maybe you're not the permanent go to the grocery store and get the groceries. Maybe you can hire somebody to cook your meals for you. If you go backstage, guess what? Our chef has already prepared all the meals for the weekend. They're sitting back there ready to go. Done. I don't even think about it. So, guess when I started doing that? When I didn't have the money. Not because I have the money now, but when I didn't have the money. And you could start the same thing. You gotta decide, is this part of my identity to do all of these chores, all of these things? Or is it part of my identity to be a gift to the world and have a support system helping me do the rest? Some of you prepare your own taxes. Get a professional, for crying out loud. Some of you paying your own bills. I haven't written a check in years. In years. I don't pay the bills. I have so much psychic damage from earlier parts of my life when I was behind on my bills and stuff that even seeing the mail gives me stress. So I never even see the bills. They're all just taken care of. I get a report at the end of the month. It's handled. Get the best in the world to help you do your stuff so you can be the gift that you need to be to the world. That was what worked for me. And I promise you it will work for you if you have the courage to do it, because some of you feel like, oh, that's like uncomfortable. I can tell you're a little uncomfortable, yeah?